Dear parents and friends of UWC Diligent, I am Gabriel Ernesto Abad Fernandez, the head of the school, and I would like to welcome you very warmly to this Meet the Faculty series. A young school in its 8th academic year. And while the pandemic has been a very tough, difficult period, one thing that we've learned is that distance can be overcome. And actually, as a community, we strengthen our interaction with the different stakeholders, especially with parents. We learned that engaging more, even if it's virtually, with those who have a stake in the children's education and the school's success can only be good for the students and for the wider school. This year, for the first time, we're introducing specific sessions with a faculty, which we have arranged by departments. This is our third such session with the Humanities and Arts departments. I'm very lucky and I'm privileged to be leading our stellar faculty. Supported by our administrative and support staff, our faculty, together with fantastic students, make UWC Diligent the special place it is. We hope that today's session will give you a glimpse of the people behind me and who support me in my journey, making UWC Diligent the best learning and living experience, fulfilling and meaningful for our students. Thank you for joining us and enjoy the session. Over to the team.
Thanks, Gabriel. Hi, and welcome to our session. I'm glad to have everyone here, to have the opportunity to introduce our Humanities and Arts faculty. My name is Chris Yeager, and I'm the head of the Humanities faculty. I'd like to introduce you to the teachers that we have. Together, they represent more than 85 years of teaching experience, and introduce the subjects that we teach here in the Humanities department at UWC Diligent. Afterwards, I'll hand over to Yarrow, who will also introduce the Fine Arts faculty. We hope you will ask questions. We will give a relatively brief overview in order to allow enough time for you to ask questions on specific subjects or on the direction of the faculty, so that we can share our vision of how we want to run this part of the UWC college. So let me just quickly introduce some of our faculty and the different areas that they teach. So in addition to being head of the faculty, I'm also an economics teacher. We teach IB economics together with my colleague Anhit Hovhannisyan as well. Both of us have practical experience in economics. Anahit is a practicing macroeconomic economist working for the Central Bank of Armenia and brings that experience into the classroom. Myself, I've worked also in business using economic analysis. So we try to bring some of that experience into the classroom. Similarly, we also have Bharat Dolakhandi and Dia Paul, who teach geography and also are very big on bringing hands-on experience using the opportunities we have here in Diligent to get students out doing field work and learning about geography, not just within the classroom walls, but also beyond. I'm also pleased to introduce Gautam Banerjee, who is our global politics teacher and who also comes with many years of experience working at the United Nations as well, and can bring much of his real world experience into the classroom to talk about how issues related to global politics apply both in theory and in practice in the real world. I'm also pleased to have on the faculty Sergei Fokin, who is our history teacher, as well as global politics teacher. And Sergei is a passionate student of history himself and brings together the many different perspectives on history that the IB allows us to do. Many of our students come with quite different perspectives on history. And so it brings for an interesting dynamic in terms of allowing students to compare their views on history and how they may change or evolve by comparing them with others and the way they see it. Particularly here in Armenia, that is a very timely and very important question for students to tackle and think about during their time here as well. Also, we're very lucky to offer philosophy here at UWC de Leon. That's not a class that a lot of high school students get the opportunity to try. And of course, who else would you like for that but a Greek? So I have Stelios Tavoularis, who is our philosophy teacher, and brings that very interesting and urgent subject into the faculty. I think we are very lucky in the humanities faculty to have such a wide variety of subjects on offer, particularly if I look across all of the UWC colleges. I feel that UWC de Leon has quite a wide offering for the size of the school. We are also looking at ways that we can continue to expand our offering. We've done a recent survey with students to identify which other humanities topics might be of interest to them. And we've identified that both psychology and business management are other subjects that are also interesting, and there'll be ones that we'll also be considering whether there's any possibility to expand our offering in the future. The other area, one of the things that I think I'm particularly proud of working in the humanities faculty is the amount of support we have for students on their extended essay. About 1/3 of all of the extended essays in the college are in humanities subjects. So this team is also supporting students in their extended essay, which lends very well to humanities related subjects. And finally, I think one of the things that we're trying to do as a faculty that I think is very valuable is also to contribute in terms of bringing speakers and bringing ideas to the college. We've recently sponsored Professor Georgi Derlugian, who's a professor of Armenian history at NYU Abu Dhabi, came and spoke about the history of Armenia, and Gautam was moderating that session. Later next week, we'll also have Tina Zornatzi, who is the head of strategic communications at the European Commission, who will be speaking about disinformation and the challenges of disinformation and fighting disinformation at the EU level. So we hope to be able to bring those kind of things into the school life here, as well as the subjects that we teach to our students. So that gives you a little bit of an overview in what we're doing in humanities. I'm going to pass over the floor to Yado to talk a little more about fine arts, and then we'll open up and answer any questions that people may have on particular subjects or generally on the faculty. Yado?
Thank you, Chris. Hello all, my name is Yaro and I'm the head of the arts department. Just a little bit about myself. I am a WC alum. I went to study to Atlantic College in Wales, and later on I went on to study applied arts in the US, specializing in photography and ceramics. I then worked in Moscow for 2 years at the British Higher School of Art and Design, and then I came here to Diligent, joined the Diligent team, and this is now my 6th year at UWC Diligent. The arts department consists of 3 areas. We have visual arts subject, we have theater, and we have music. We do not offer music as an IB subject, but as an extracurricular opportunity that allows students to engage with the local music scene, practice an instrument. It is led by Karine, who is herself a wonderful piano musician. And in fact, just last night, we took students to Yerevan to enjoy St. Matthew Passion by Bach, which was a wonderful event. So students have a chance to engage with music at the school, despite not having it as a subject. Visual arts, the subject that I teach, I'm joined by Yolanda, who is our artist in residence. Yolanda is here. She's a printmaker and supports students in the studios. In visual arts, we offer a wide range of artistic media. We have photography, ceramics, sculpture, printmaking, digital design, painting and drawing, of course, and other media. So students get to try first all of these different things, and then they choose what is closer to their heart and specialize in that medium. The course culminates in the exhibition, the final exhibition, which is a grand event. Before pandemic, we used to have it at the local gallery in town. Now we have it on campus, but we invite everybody to join in and witness the wonderful things that students create. Before I give floor to Morris to talk about theater, just one thing that maybe there's a preconception that exists about the arts is that in the arts, we're sort of kind of floating in the clouds, waiting for the muse and inspiration to come. But actually in these subjects, students learn very down-to-earth skills such as analysis, critical thinking, discipline, very important. You can't, learn an instrument or any craft or art without self-discipline. Time management, critical analysis, as I said, these are the skills that students learn in our subjects, and they transfer to other subjects and hopefully to wherever they go later in life. And to tell you more about theater, I would like to give the floor to Morris.
Well, hello, my name's Morris Halder, and if you're listening to my accent, then you'll hear that I've sort of traveled halfway around the world. The journey started in New Zealand quite some time ago, and it's been a little bit of a wander following the IB and following UWC experiences where I can. So I've worked in Asia, in Hong Kong and Thailand. More recently, I was in the UK and France, but the possibility of working again at a UWC is what's brought me to Dilijan. So a little background about me, and then the thing that probably maybe you're more interested in, which is my subject. So theatre, we are very, very fortunate to be possibly in the best equipped space here in terms of the delivery of the subject of anywhere that I've worked in the world. I've had other theatre spaces, but I've never had such a purpose-built space as I've got with the black box here. And in terms of explaining what about the subject, the subject, like visual arts, combines practical components with a research and critical analysis exploration as well. The program is based around the 4 different hats, if you like. So we have the hat of the director, we have the hat of the performer, we have the hat of the creator, who could be an individual, a playwright, or could be a group of people devising something collaboratively. And then, of course, we have the designer, which is the crossover between the visual arts as well. And in terms of assessment in my subject, we have 4 components. We lost one because of COVID. We didn't get the collaborative production last year. That's coming back. So we have a director's vision, which the students are working on in DP2 at the moment, taking a play and a vision of the play. We've got the collaborative project I mentioned, which is coming back, where they devised their own work based upon looking at other collaborative companies and the way they work. We have the research project, a research presentation, where they look at a world theatre tradition and do a presentation on that, which includes a performance. And we got to view some of those very recently, a selection in a performance in the black box, where the students combined monologues and some of these performances from around the world. So got to see the sort of skill on offer that they're able to achieve. And then right at the very end of the year, we have the solo projects, where the higher level students do these, and we end up with a festival of solo performances right at the very end of the year, around about April. So that gives an overview to my subject, and if you've got any questions, more than happy to answer them.
Thank you, Morris. So yeah, if you've got questions about theater, visual arts, or music at UWC Dilijan, please feel free to ask us. Thank you.
Hi, it's Chris here again. I do have a first question, which is just to clarify whether or not we are offering geography here at the college. So we are offering geography at the college. So Bharat and Dia are our geography teachers. And that's one of the subjects we offer. And one of the ones particularly proud with in terms of how hands-on we're able to make that subject by using our location here in Dilijan. I saw that there's appreciation for the concert.
Yeah,
I would say, Yara can comment. There was enormous interest from the students. I know personally I wanted to go, but there were so
and
many
from the staff.
that
Yes, we had to randomly draw names from the hat because so many people wanted to go, and we had a very limited amount of spaces because because of the social distancing and COVID regulations, we sat at a separate sector in the audience, so we couldn't take all people, but we had about 27 students go and 4 members of staff, and it was absolutely wonderful just to get out of campus and go to Yerevan and enjoy classical music. It was really, really great. I think there's a general question, not to any of the departments in particular, about the challenges in teaching, considering the diversity of the students. And I think both the departments can comment on this. Chris, would you like to start?
I thought I would let Sergey maybe have a chance for Sergey to get it out.
Hi. Just a minute. Hi, I teach history in UWC Dilijan. To be honest, I never saw the diversity of our student body as a challenge. It's more likely a thing that allows us to talk about different things that wouldn't be raised in a more homogeneous society. On one hand, we are able to discuss more things. On the other, students are actually very aware of the fact that they come from different cultures, and they really try to be careful with each other. So I wouldn't say that there's a challenge there. I'm not sure if I can speak for everyone, but I really enjoy our diversity here.
I was going to add one of the things. So this is my first year teaching here at the college. And one of the things that I've noticed is some of the hand signals that students have learned, I think on Zoom initially, and now have brought into the classroom. So you sometimes see students doing like this sort of thing, suggesting that that's a sign that they agree. Or occasionally there's this one, which means I respectfully disagree. And I think it's an interesting part of the culture here that students are trying to understand diversity and trying to be and are very open and accepting of that and challenging themselves in their own thinking as a result of that diversity. So that's been very interesting for me coming here for the first year from outside UWC world.
if I can join in from the art side, similar to Sergey, there are many positives in the diversity in the arts. Obviously, in visual arts, it's just a gift to have students from so many different cultural backgrounds together, working alongside each other, and inevitably influencing each other. And you get wonderful combinations when, let's say, a student from Malawi is sitting next to a student from Czech Republic, and you can see kind of cultures sort of merging, and the artworks that grow out of it, out of this friendships and connections, have symbols and details of many different cultures, and I wouldn't be able to force it in any other environment. These things have to happen naturally and develop naturally. So that is definitely a great positive in the diversity that we have here and enjoy here. It's not a challenge, but another thing I thought of in terms of diversity, it places a high responsibility on us, the teachers delivering these subjects, because we have to sometimes put our own misconceptions or prejudice behind. For example, I come from, let's say, Western European perspective in arts in terms of my education. But when I'm teaching such a diverse class, I just have to accept that not everybody joins knowing who Van Gogh is, for example. And it is absolutely okay. It is not something to be ashamed of, because these students are coming from a radically different background, and they know other things that can enrich the students and also myself. So I think that is another great thing in diversity that we enjoy.
I think there's a question for me there. I'm just going to read it. So there are quite a few performances during the year at the college. As parents, we often miss these special performances. Is there a way to record these in full, not only so they can be watched by the parents later, but so they can become part of the student's portfolio? Well, it's a very good suggestion. It's a very interesting suggestion, actually, because a lot of the work that the students are doing, they're putting themselves a little bit online, and the joy of the black box is its intimate space. So the idea that somehow the thing is not ephemeral, but is actually recorded, actually changes the nature of the beast, really. They have got work that's recorded as part of their portfolio, as part of the course. So for the World Research, the research presentation, they are recorded when they're doing the entire presentation, actually, but definitely the performance that they do at the end. And of course, the solo projects, which the higher level students do, are also recorded. So there is documentation for their own wider portfolio. It would be something that the students might want to consider above and beyond the performances that they're doing, that they do a performance for recording and for sharing with the parents. That's certainly something that can be looked at, but it does need to be balanced out with the immediate nature of theatre experience, which is altered by the intrusion of the camera. I don't know if that answers it, but yeah, it is a response.
I wonder if we close it on the diversity, or if any other faculty members have their examples or comments on the diversity in their classes, perhaps.
If I can pitch in there, for me, it's exactly the same as what other people have said. It's just a richness to the subject. The fact that we talk about looking at world theatre traditions, but in the classroom, we've got people that are bringing those world theatre traditions, into the room just through themselves. So yeah, it's just a richness and a joy that I feel privileged, really.
If I can just add to that, I think I agree with what everybody said in terms of it not being a challenge, but a real strength. So it's a complete joy teaching geography here with people from all over the place, and they really get a chance to learn from each other, which I think is so important.
One of the moments that I remember from one of our global classes was when there was a boy from France who had an interesting take on the way women in Japan are, the way they became part of the workforce and how it changed their position and so on and so forth. And he had like a 10-minute speech about that. And then a girl from Japan raises her hand and says, well, actually, things are slightly different back home. It's really good to have a chance to talk to people who can represent the cultures that we talk a lot about. That is true. Another thing that I might say is that here you cannot rely on your previous experience. When I was teaching back in Russia, I was teaching students who had relatively the same experiences that I had when I was a student. We all were part of the same system. We knew how it worked. We knew what were the rules, what were some unspoken rules, how do you break them without being caught, and so on and so forth. Here, everybody comes from their different cultures and their different traditions, so you have to turn on your brain. You can't just rely on what you're used to, which I would say is also a good thing.
So I have another question, a really good one, about current affairs and topics, which is, to what extent do you teach current affairs topics, especially now in a period of a pandemic and COVID affecting so many different aspects of society? Maybe I'll just make a comment on economics, which is very related to current affairs. So one of the things I think that is very good about following the IB curriculum is the fact that real world links are really an accented part of the course. So in economics, students are required to apply the theory they learn in class to real world cases as part of their IA, as part of their independent research and work, as well as in class to bring and discuss issues related. So I can tell you there were a lot of discussions about the economic impact of COVID on the global economy during the course of this term already. But maybe some other teachers would like to comment to the extent that current affairs are also brought into the subjects that they teach.
Hello, I am Bharbhushan Dhalakandi, Geography and ESS Facilitator. I would like to add that in geography, right now we are doing the HL core extension one. And one of the topic is a process, place, and network one. The organization one, right now we are discussing about the current situation, which is occur in Afghanistan one. The people are working on our different organizations, how they are working on it, how they are looking after that. And now they are working the aim and objectives of that one, how that can be solved peacefully in that manner. So I allocated them in a group study one, So they can discuss about these things, and then they can prepare a small presentation about different organization. 4 organization we are looking, because they have a bankruptcy in Afghanistan, to how the World Bank is looking after that one, and as well as with the International Monetary Fund, how they will support that one. So students are working in it, and then next class we have a discussion, group discussion in class, with a small presentation in a peers. So that is the aspect, that how we are working with the COVID situation, those things. Thank you.
One of the comments, I think it does apply to this question. In the arts, we try to stay current and react to what's happening in the world. And so one of the briefs in ceramics last academic year we had was the mask for our time. And we just, we observed everybody is wearing masks, and we were trying to understand how this visually impacts people and how we, just perceive each other, and how much attention is paid to the eyes. Much more than before, because you try to judge people's emotions, intonations through the eyes, and the variety of different masks people wearing. Some people make their own masks, and some people buy commercial and then personalize them. And so we ask students to make masks in clay out of ceramics to sort of reflect on the things that are happening with all of these masks that are appearing around the world, and how that is also could be a good thing, protecting people from getting COVID, but can also have, and let's say, an environmental impact and causing pollution in the oceans and so forth, so on and so forth. So kind of trying to see both sides of the mask aspect in arts.
Yeah, if I may chip in as a global politics teacher. In fact, global politics is all about current affairs. In fact, the cutoff date, we say, is the lifetime, not of me, but of the students. In fact, so we are looking very closely into global politics in context with live examples from all over the world. And interestingly, I mean, one of the students that I'm supervising for the extended essay, in fact, Chris did mention the high take for EE extended essay in social sciences. One of the students is doing on the play of power, political power, around COVID-19 and its impact, using his own experience in the United States as a case study. So that's a very, very interesting perspective, because power is a concept. It's the overarching theme of global politics. And the play of power, he has produced a brilliant first draft. He's still working further on it. And it would be really interesting to see the outcome. In fact, whether the power that you give yourself as the government will stay, or is that the new norm, or what will be the future, if at all COVID disappears. So, I mean, global politics is all about contemporary events. In fact, this is one subject which cuts across several other social science disciplines. In fact, we look at development, we look at poverty, we look at migration, we look at the environment, besides conflict, peacekeeping, peace building, war. So these are looked at with different perspectives across different areas of social sciences. And contemporary issues is very much at the core of the global politics course that we teach.
I wanted to also maybe give Anahit a chance if she's available online there to maybe just comment. She's one of our Armenian teachers here at UWC, so she's an economist, but I'm also curious, maybe she can comment a little bit on what it means, how it feels to be an Armenian teaching at UWC Diligent. How does that inform your teaching, or what's your first impressions? Like me, she's also new to the college.
So, okay. Yeah, as you have already mentioned, I'm new here, but I'm new in IB. So, and teaching as an Armenian, so here is totally different, I think, because I'm like a host here and we have a guest, and it's totally different to see and to deal with the different cultures here. So regarding the question of the COVID and how we're dealing with this topic during our classes. So it is very interesting topic, and during mostly every lecture we are bringing in examples. So we are bringing all examples regarding this masks, regarding regulations that government are setting to the economy, and how students are trying to understand how we use real life examples, like how we can use them, how we can see the theory and combine the theory with the practice. So that's why it's very hard actually at this moment to bring in examples, like we're limited in the micro. So COVID is mostly macro topic, and I'm waiting when we are going to start a macro part in order to bring more examples, more real life from nowadays. And it's very like hot topic, and I think it will last for a couple of years at least. Okay.
Right. Thanks, Anna. Anahit and I are making a trip with some students down to Lake Savan this weekend to meet some of the fish sellers there and to analyze with the students the extent to which they are a perfectly competitive market according to economic theory. So, and maybe to eat a fish or two along the way. I think we might have time for one more question, if there's still one remaining out there before we end the session. I think Gabrielle just got a question, if he's there.
Maybe not.
There was a question on whether the IB is still fit for purpose for humanities or for UWC. I think, I do think that is, I will say that is an open discussion that is being discussed. There's a lot about the IB that works and fits very well with UWC values and ethics. Not surprising, there's a strong and long link between the two. Probably the biggest challenge is getting the balance right in terms of all of the things we want students to be able to do during their time at UWC, both academically, socially, and pastorally, culturally. And I think that is a topic that is up for discussion. And maybe at another time when Gabrielle is here, who's been more involved in that discussion with the other heads around the community, might be able to give his perspective. I'd be interested to hear as well. what his views are on that. So I think we're pretty much at the end of our time. I guess just I'd like to say maybe on behalf of myself and Yado and the whole team, thanks very much for joining us. Thank you for your interest in what we've had to say and share. It's been a great opportunity to have some engagement, and I look forward to having more opportunities to share what we're doing here in the school with the parents and the wider community. Yado.
Yes, thank you all for attending. And if other questions come up during other time when we're not here, please do communicate with the communications team, and they'll pass them to us and we'll answer them. But thank you all for attending.